We've got George Stroumboulopoulos in here because he's a drifter and he just jumped in the cab with Raine and Steve.
It's actually true.
It is actually true.
Yeah.
So, dude, what are you doing here? You want to play a song?
Yeah. I mean, I've never been to the Stampede before, so my friend Jim from Toronto said he wanted to go to the Stampede. I was out of the country.
Talk closer to your mic.
Well,
you used to do this job.
Well, I did, but I'm trying to create distance so that these sound differently, you sound differently. It's an audioscape. Fine, I'll do this.
Oh.
And it's the 100th anniversary. I wanted to be here, and that's why I came. And I heard these guys were playing, and I know George Canyon's playing on the weekend, and Steve Aoki's here. So this city's going off in a really different way than
all the genres here.
Yeah, for sure. So I just wanted to come hang out.
You figured you'd come bust a move.
Yeah, man, and to get here and be on the radio with you. I mean, I wouldn't have the job I have if it wasn't for your father. He taught me pretty much everything I know about radio. So I'm really excited to be.
That's crazy. This is breaking news, and we're taking away from Our Lady Peace. But nobody out there knows that my dad actually works over at the competition. So
there you go.
There you go. So you wanted to play a song. You wanted to kind of put the OLP takeover on pause just for a second. And I think what you want to do is pretty cool. So why don't you say?
Well, I remember when Raine did a takeover on a radio show I used to do in Toronto. He brought in Saul Williams, and it blew my mind. And I later this season had Saul on the TV show.
Did you really?
Because Raine had introduced me to Saul. And what I loved about it was Raine was going on a rock and roll station playing hip hop because he understands the importance of storytelling and the importance of opening your mind. And I remember when I was a kid in the early 80s coming across the Beastie Boys. And the Beastie Boys were obviously a legendary band, and we all know what happened with MCA this year when he passed away.
Such a bummer.
Total bummer, man. In fact, I had just landed. I was in Brooklyn when I got the news that he died, and I was super bummed. I went straight to the corner where the Paul's Boutique album cover was shot. I sat there for a couple hours, then I went into Brooklyn Heights and just remembered what I loved about the Beastie Boys. But the 80s were so key to their success. It was the 90s, which is why they're important. And in the mid-90s, early to mid-90s, when they put out Ill Communication, it was a complete game changer because they were socially conscious. They still knew how to sample well. The song I want to play is a sample of a song called Howlin' for Judy, which is this driving flute riff. I mean, who makes a flute riff rock and roll? But they did. The backstory is that they had written the song. They didn't have a chorus. They called their DJ Hurricane, late at night, woke him up and said, we don't have a chorus. And so he just ad-libbed, and he came up with this, I don't know, man, why don't you just say, because you can't, you want, you don't, stop. And they kept working through it, and that's how they got the chorus. I think it is one of the most badass songs to ever be recorded. It's Sure Shot by the Beastie Boys.
Calgary's new rock alternative is X92.9. Takeover, which George Stroumboulopoulos has now taken over. Carly. So do you remember where you were, Raine, when you found out that MCA had passed?
Yeah, I was in LA. And a friend of mine's good friends with Mike D. And you'd heard that he was ill, and then.
But then you kind of heard he got better.
Yeah, there was a mystery.
Well, you didn't really. Yeah, you kind of didn't hear anything. I don't know if he got better, but you kind of, I guess, in your subconscious, you're just hoping that it's gone and he's fine. But. Yeah, I agree. You know, everything George said. Such an influential band. It's like as time goes by, you just realize the more important every year goes. That passes. Just the importance of that band is so profound.
And also, nobody can do what they do. If you listen to the last record, the Hot Sauce record, no other artist makes a record like that and can. That's the craziest thing about it. In an era where everybody's pretty much in the middle, certainly in hip-hop, mainstream hip-hop.
Yeah,
definitely.
No one does that.
And so young. I mean, I'm sure both you guys, all you guys, have seen the Beastie Boys live. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, in 2009, I didn't have the coin to do it, but I'm like, I'm going to save every penny, and I'm going to book it out to Bonnaroo, and it was like the last big show that the Beastie Boys played, and so glad I did it. So glad I did it.
I mean, they're the finest. And even in that particular song, I want to read a lyric to you, and this is another way they stand out. Here's a lyric that MCA sings. I want to say a little something that's long overdue. This disrespect of women has got to be through. To all the mothers and sisters and all the wives and friends, I want to offer my love and respect to the end. In hip-hop, who does that?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Who does that?
I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one.
That's right, and that's his nice song to women.
Yeah,
that's him saying she's not the problem. And I went to go see Kanye and Jay-Z on the Watch the Throne tour. It was one of the best shows I'd ever seen. But I definitely learned that neither of those two guys have a nice word for woman.
Right.
Like, it's really same with Snoop and Dre. It was like, oh my God, guys, is that all we know? Yeah. But the Beastie Boys grew away from that. Really important.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we had a chance to talk about that. That was pretty cool. So you guys actually chose some tunes from, well, back in the day, today, everywhere. Do you want to keep it old school with Talking Heads?
Sure. That's one of Steve's favorites for sure.
Steve, why is it one of your favorites?
They're just a fantastic band. Talk about cutting edge, ahead of their time, and
rhythms for sure.
Oh my God, It's amazing listening to Talking Heads. A lot of things about them are very unconventional. A lot of their songs from after the first couple records are just built on just loops. The band is basically doing the same thing the whole time, and for different parts of the song, they'll just add like a different element. And you don't realize that it's not a verse, chorus, bridge thing. It's just like one part. This is the way a James Brown song would be or something. And
rock bands weren't doing that at the time.
No.
Which
they were hugely influenced by a lot of African music, which is where they got a lot of that from. And, we listen to it and we think it sounds great, and you don't realize all those things that are going into it. And this song, Burning Down the House, one interesting little thing about this is, I'm sure most people know what a cymbal is. It's the thing, the psh thing you hit when you play drums. Most music, you hear it, like most rock music, pop music, you hear it probably every 6-7 seconds on average, let's say. There's not a single crash cymbal in the entire song. And I read it was because they wanted to build a crash cymbal as like a release of tension. And they wanted the song to have this like tension sort of build the whole time. So there's not a single crash cymbal in the entire song.
They never let you off the hook.
Exactly.
In
there
this
you
song,
go.
they never let you off the hook.
And I'm a music dork, so I like things like that. So I'm making everyone a little dorkier today.
Well, there you go. He pointed it out. Now you turn it up and listen for it.
And there probably
Heads.
is one. Maybe there is one at the end of the song.
Oh, now
Everyone's
you're
gonna
afraid
go,
that you're
dude.
going to get proven wrong. All right.
I don't think so.
Talking Heads, Burning Down the House, Our Lady Peace Takeover. Our Lady